I'm David, and this is David Talks.
I'm Dave. I'm back on David Talks.
All right, listen. I don't even want to take much time on this. But we gotta get these diaper awards right out the way. All right. Parking attendants.
He's like grievous, like he going through something.
This guy, I had an emergency. I had to go to the hospital. Somebody was literally with a tube down their throat. That serious kind of situation, right? Came downstairs, parking attendant in the same building. It was 6-something a.m. It was the day after Christmas, and I told the guy it's probably about 8 o'clock. Came downstairs. He's actually debating with me, saying you said it was at 8 o'clock, and I was like, well, yeah, I have an emergency. Somebody's in intensive care. They're in the hospital. I gotta go. This guy's. First of all, I'm leaving out the part where he walks all the way long down, this whole alley, comes all the way back, tells me, I'm telling him, we going back and forth. I said, I'll help you move cars. He's like, your car's like 7 cars, 8 cars behind. I'm like, no matter what, I gotta leave regardless, so I'll help you. I'm just being patient with the whole situation. So eventually, he decided to start moving cars, and he said, oh no, worry, I got it. All of a sudden, and then I'm leaving things out. I'm leaving out the fact that I always tip, which is, I'm in a position to do it, so I do it, right? So the next day, get there. It was a little late, maybe 12. The gate's down. Normally it's not down. It's down. Calling. Find out later on he was there. He decided, I guess he didn't pick up the phone or whatever. Okay. I talked to the owner about it, and the owner is like, well, I don't think it's personal. I said, you know what? Yeah, it is personal. Because, as a matter of fact, that was the one time. Then another time, he did answer the phone. He said, it's full. I explained the whole story. Rewind it back to, he said it's not personal. I said, yeah, well, actually it is, because when I came in the morning, the other tenant gave me his number, and he was like, oh, it's not full. Is it full? And I'm like, no, it's not. I explained to you the story. You keep saying it's not personal. And right. So actually, you're just being dishonest right now. I understand it's your business, and I feel like if he doesn't let me park here, that means you're not letting me park here.
Right. Because he represents him.
Exactly. And you're gonna defend him. Okay. I'm not even gonna get into that, but that's just so unprofessional. What would you say to a situation? What would you do in a situation like that?
I mean, I don't know. I just call 411 now. Was it 311?
311?
Yeah, I'm not even gonna play games. Like, just, assume what it is. If I really feel that bothered to do so. But I think arguments and even giving people a piece of your mind, sometimes it might work. For me though, I just.
That's actually a good option. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, because I just I've been in a situation where I seen someone explain their grievances and I was on the other side and I understood what their struggle was, and I've seen the person that they complained to, a manager or a supervisor,
right,
like act concerned and like appease to the customer, which I guess is all you should really need to do, and that's what he should have done with you. But as soon as the customer leaves, they out of there, and the supervisor's like, yo, look at this jerk. You know what I'm saying? Or like they don't change anything within the business to make, everyone's life easier. But I just think that, well, that's a waste of time.
I see.
Go to 311, 411, whatever it is. That's my police.
You know what? I get it. I understand. And I've been passive myself. And if I guess in a way I was fearful of not being able to find better and I would say workers.
Right.
I gave that up though, because it never gets better.
Right.
You find yourself in a situation where you feel mentally hostage, like you don't have choices. So I just face things, you know, or I should say I go head on in situations?
I mean, the best way to do it, I've found, is to just do it by the book. That really just, if they're doing things properly, then they should be fine. If they're not, that's when it hurts the most. And I tend to realize that when the customer is uncomfortable, or the employee or employer is uncomfortable, it's not by the book, you know, usually. So, and then if the book isn't working, that's when they make the changes. And that's just how it should go. And that's where the complaints come from. You know what I'm saying? And I understand the whole, you have to, because I've done the valet thing. I understand, like, sometimes the car is on a second level or something. You got to, like, bring the crane down. And I've seen all those situations where somebody comes early for the car. But, you know, the customer is a customer, you know what I'm saying? So, like, you can't get mad at a customer for wanting to change the service, especially when they're paying the money. You know what I'm saying? So I just think people just waste a lot of time. But yeah, I was gonna play a clip from Donald Trump for my diaper award. But before I get there, what's your diaper award?
Well, let me just.
I mean, what's your diaper rating?
I'm gonna give my diaper rating. I just wanted to add one more thing. The owner said that it would never happen again, right? It did happen again.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So,
it happened again. And in fact, I called the other parking attendant. He lived in the next building over. He came downstairs and called for about 15 minutes till the guy finally let the gate up to let me in.
I usually don't ask, but where was this situation? Is it like a private property?
Yeah, it's private. It's private building, you know.
But yeah, that's crazy.
So I'm definitely gonna give him 5 diapers. And from my understanding, not from the owner's mouth, but apparently they've been trying to train people and they can't get a good fit. And I understand exactly how that is, because, you know, I hire people a lot, and it's a lot. There's a lot to deal with. There's a lot of situations to go through. So I get it. What would you give that person?
I don't know, man. 3 diapers.
3? Fair enough.
It didn't happen to me. These are the personal things that happen to you. But I understand your frustration.
Say, hey, look, you know what? I don't honestly, truly, really, and I told the owner, even though I said to him, you know, you're lying.
And he is lying.
But I also said I'm not going to take it personal. I mean that, because I forget about things quick. It's
Right.
only when we're having this discussion I'm remembering that I had to actually go somewhere else to sleep and then come right back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that night, you know. So it was inconvenient, but it's life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, he definitely deserves those 5 diapers. That's all I'm gonna say about it. You was gonna show me something about.
I was gonna show you the clip, but I lost it when I pressed it with my hand. But it was basically a clip of Donald Trump saying what Obama was gonna do to get reelected or stay in office, and like play by play, verbatim, he says about going to war with Iran.
Right.
And he explains how, you know, what the strategy is going to be. And he's literally following step by step what he thought Obama was going to do to stay in office. You know, and this is following his impeachment. So this is crazy how he said what Obama was going to do. And he did every step, like literally, like he mapped out his own, you know, second term already. Like it was already in the works.
Wow.
But I mean, I guess we'll see what happens with that situation. I know we don't want war with Iran as far as our government is concerned. And I think I could speak for some of us saying that we as a people, we don't want war with Iran. And some people in the government have expressed that. Nancy Pelosi just announced today that she's still handing in the articles of impeachment next week. So like that didn't stop. You know what I mean? So,
well, yeah, I think it's people are a lot smarter and less controlled. Right. And I think it's obvious, like you said, it seems like it was just a distraction, so that way people could say, oh, our you know, president is strong, and let's like forget about all this, you know, which is terrible. I
mean, to be honest, like I don't know enough about Iran to know anything. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if they're bad for us or good for us. I do know that there are documented attacks on the embassy, but to go to war with a whole country is just different. You know what I'm saying? And I think the narrative is being created by the media to view Iran as a whole state of enemy. But like there's a video that's going around. It's a viral video of one of the citizens getting interviewed by a reporter, and she asks like, "What's beef with America?" And he explains,
Yeah.
and in tears, that he doesn't have any beef with America. He loves Americans. He just hates the president. You know, and so it's going viral, and it's just so funny how people try to label certain things as propaganda. But that video is so heartfelt, and you feel the honesty, the fear, and anger, and a whole bunch of emotions from this one individual in like a 15-second clip. It's like overshadowing, I think, a lot of people's agenda. And so it's kind of like drowning out the voices of war. You know,
Wow.
people crying for war.
Wow.
But, I mean, just people speaking from the heart is just changing a lot of things. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have people in positions of clearly of power when you can command a whole entire group of people to do your bidding. That says you do have power.
Right.
And it's a shame because your own common sense tells you there's not a country that people from all over the world come to America, and we all interact with different people every day.
Mm-hmm.
So we know better.
Right.
And vice versa. A lot of Americans go to all different countries every day.
Mm-hmm.
And we're interacting, and we don't know what goes on behind the scenes with people in positions of power and their agendas and what they want to do.
Right.
Golf, war and how that went down, and even to this day, it never made any sense.
I mean, it's just like, for example, the funeral that happened for the general that was killed. I forget his name.
Yes.
Was massive. And it showed, I think, close to 1 million people out. But that doesn't even, as much people as they showed on camera, that doesn't even amount to a percentage to mention in the conversation for the country as a whole. You know what I'm saying? And even so, for them to show up at the funeral doesn't mean that they're our enemy or anyone's enemy for that matter.
Right.
So it's just like, things can be twisted to look a certain way when a little crowd of maybe 300, 400 people are saying death to America. You can't say that the whole country is screaming that. But of course, we as Americans, we feel threatened by that. We might feel a little bit fearful. So we just reactive instead of like actually delving into information and finding out what's going on. So it's just like you just said, no one's really falling for the same stuff. I think movies and TV shows have explored those things enough for us to say, is this happening in real life? And so I think we're starting to ask ourselves the real questions. And, in the time of our sensitive era, I think it's actually showing that we see others from other countries as different as they might seem to be as human beings. So it's like, it's deterring our bloodlust for war. Difference from the Gulf War with the scare of nuclear deals going wrong or Pakistan getting invaded and making people look like the big bad wolf, and us going like, yeah, we got to get these terrorists and rallying behind things that we don't even understand. And a lot of things that the presidents have done, Clinton, Bush, even Obama, things that they have done, we've actually questioned and try to have a critical thinking on like, what is the right things to do, and look at the outcome. Did it help us in any way? We had a 17-year-long war with Iraq, and Afghanistan, 15 with Iraq, and it's like all these 2-decade wars going on, and we don't know what we gained from these wars. The soldiers say we didn't gain much from them, and it's not the rich man's war. People throw jokes up. Maybe it did help us, but we don't really know what I think as a people we want to see what other things we can explore, harsh sanctions and stuff like that being in place, so we avoid war. So we avoid our soldiers going and putting their lives at risk, putting our country at risk, So it's just...
Well, I mean, you just ask yourself questions. Why would people in their country burn their oil? And those are just obvious things.
Yeah. I mean, oil fields on fire for months, the billions of dollars just are being... It's because they don't want no one after their stuff, you know what I mean? And people are saying it's
stories of war,
hurt pockets and stuff, but I think it's just like, they're here for this, let's get rid of it so they could leave. You know what I'm saying? And there are a lot of rumors about things happening in Iran, and it's not supposed to be about the arms deals or, I don't want to get too much into that.
Yeah, we could talk about that for a while.
But it's just, I don't think we're falling for the propaganda as much as we haven't not too long ago.
Right.
And we could be for the other side, but at the same time, I think there are other solutions that could have been implemented before this. But again, I'm not an intelligence officer, so who knows?
Got it.
Might happen.
So I want to talk about the flu shot. What do you think about the flu shot? Free flu shots.
Right.
The reason why I asked is because for whatever reason I ended up taking a cab today, and the driver was just having a regular conversation. He told me he was incarcerated for 8 years, and the last 3 of those years he took a flu shot and was paralyzed.
Right.
And I was like, wow, this is my first time ever hearing about it. I just knew my own, and I've been criticized by professionals or physicians. You know, conspiracy theory or whatever. I always take shots. Nothing ever happens to me. All my friends, all my coworkers, we all take shots. Nothing ever happens to us.
Right.
And it was very. It was just like, wow, like, you know, how can you not sympathize with this person or say, wow, that could have happened to me, you know? We spoke, and I asked him a couple of questions, and I asked him, I said, hey, look, do you mind if, you know, I'll talk about this, you know, on my show? And he's like, of course not, you know. In fact, he told me, let me know, give me his card when we air it and everything.
Right.
You know, he seemed like a great guy. I don't know his circumstances. You know, people have different reasons why they're incarcerated, and who are we to judge? Anyway, not really.
No, yeah, exactly.
You know, that's just another story. But the point is that, so I asked him, I said, so why did you get a flu shot? You know, and you know, we discussed it, and he was like, well, you know, he grew up getting flu shots. So it didn't seem anything out of the ordinary for him to get it.
Right.
You know, he was lifting weights, and he was trying to get up, and he was like, I can't get up, you know, and they were laughing, like, stop playing around.
Right.
He really couldn't get up, you know, and he needed help to the infirmary, and, you know, they were giving him like ibuprofen, and he was just like, you keep giving me ibuprofen for pain, but I'm not in pain, I can't move.
Right.
You know, he almost got thrown in you know, in a hole, quotes, and because he took the medicine eventually and threw it at the physicians, and, you know, obviously that's a sign of aggression, so, you know, they threatened to put him in a hole, but eventually they helped him, and it took a whole month. One of his cell inmates actually carried him, you know, back and forth to his bed. He, you know, he did everything for him, you know. You know, he said everything except wipe his behind, you know, and, you know, I understand that could be a lot of pressure in a position or in a place like that, how that could be perceived and looked at, you know, but he really couldn't do for himself, you know, and he said, God bless his, you know, cellmate, and,
definitely.
You know, it's true, God bless you. That's a lot, you know. So it took a month before they could diagnose this, to find out. They took him, you know, out of the, you know, prison, and he went to a regular hospital where they figured, you know, exactly what happened. And I believe, what's it called?
Guillain-Barré.
Right, Guillain-Barré.
Guillain-Barré disease. Or is it a syndrome?
Syndrome.
Right.
Syndrome. Funny thing is, a lot of people, you know, he said 1 out of 400,000 people get it, and it's rare.
No, I don't think it's one. It's probably one. It's a chance of 1 in 400,000. So basically, like, if the lotto is 1 in a million chance, doesn't mean if it's 200 million that 200 people are gonna win it. So it's like just really slim chances. Like if it's 1% to get pregnant with a condom, then it's pretty low. You know, it's 0.9%.
Wow. I looked it up. It said 20,000 people a year get it.
Right.
That's a lot. I mean, we got like almost 400 million people that live in America, and out of those people, you got 20,000 people get it a year. In my opinion, is that big, or is that
That's not a lot at all.
Okay.
I mean, the numbers.
Right.
It's not enough to make noise.
Wow.
And I guess that's what I meant to say. It's a lot of people that deal with that, and that's pretty horrible. But considering the amount of people that walk around, it's just
Well, I did a little research on it, and it's the immune system attacks the nerve, and it somehow gets confused, and that's how it starts.
Yeah, right. With proteins and yeah, I mean, it's hard. First of all, his experience sounds horrible.
Well, I could tell you one good thing is that he vowed that before he leaves, that he's gonna walk. So he's able to walk. From my understanding, there's no cure for it.
Mm-hmm.
But he said he had a walker when he walked out.
Right. Wow, that's strong. That's a lot.
That's insane.
Yeah.
When he got to the hospital, all the nurses or doctors was like, "This guy has that condition." He said he felt like a celebrity because
Yeah, I've seen where doctors look at someone with something peculiar or something rare, and they're more fascinated, and they treat you like they become fans of. Wow, this is pretty rare. I think that's psychologically damaging in itself, because you feel like, wow, if these people don't know enough about it, can they really help me? I mean, I'm not speaking for them, but that's what I would feel. All that creates fear. I mean, I could start with the part where he had to deal with this for a month before they took him serious, and the fact that he explained that people laughed around him when he first explained his pain or whatever he was going through, that affected him deeply, because it's almost like you're questioning if this is really happening to you, and when you question if it's happening to you, then other people's gonna question it even more. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like that fear alone to feel and to be in such a secluded situation, that got to be traumatizing. And
yeah, I mean, I'm trying to imagine it now, and I'm thinking to myself, like, what's happening to me? And somebody's like, "Well, let's go. We out. Let's go." I'm like, "Well, I can't move. I can't get up."
Right.
Like, and they're like, "Are you sure you can't get up? Like, really?"
Right.
And I'm like, "Well, I don't even know. Like, I don't even know what's happening." So they're waiting for you to convince them that that's what it is, but you can't. You're not even sure yourself to convince yourself.
Right.
Is what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's insane.
I mean, and a lot of times it's like mind over matter. So eventually he's probably started compensating for the lack of, and so it just it creates a sense of doubt. And I mean, to start with, you don't know why it's happening. You don't know what's happening, and you got to figure out a lot of things before you get to the source. For them to even figure out that the source was the flu shot is a big deal.
That's insane.
And you mentioned in a video you asked if he sued.
Yeah, I did ask him, did he sue, and he said, because I recorded him, he said that I guess he doesn't have a lawsuit because he signed something.
Right.
And he mentioned something about it being a federal, I guess, again, we're designed to say, well, you can't fight the government.
Right. Which is not true.
Right.
You could actually sue the government for anything.
Right, and I also told him that a lot of these jails are privately owned. You can go directly after the owners, which is where you should go. The shareholders, again. And,
well, he mentioned he had to go to, he went to Texas. He had to speak to Texas lawyers because, every state has different protocol, and that's what they told him. But I guess you gotta ask yourself, what deals do they have in place? What stock do they have? You know what I mean? What money do they invest in? And like you said, a lot of things are private companies. Even these jails themselves are private companies. And they just arrested a judge for, I think, only like 26 years for selling black teens to prisons. So it's like, people, these private prisons, make deals with judges and DAs and even prosecutors. I mean, not prosecutors, well, which prosecutors, but also people defending you and stuff like that. So it's like, you can't really trust anyone. You don't really know what word to go by. So it could be very discouraging going to a few offices and they're like, they laugh you out the office. But I guess doing the research and being, diligent with it, you can find out. But it's really not about the money. It's more about the change. And I guess the bigger conversation that comes from it, even though it's not bigger than him per se, but the bigger conversation is exactly what he said about being used to taking flu shots as a tradition or as something that he never thought twice about because he did it from being a kid. And we are in the world of being pushed to take these shots and vaccinations. It's required to even go to daycare to have these vaccinations for our children or to go to public schools, so it's just like, at first you really don't even have a choice, and it's against the law to keep your child home unless you're doing homeschool.
Right.
For that, you got to get certain licenses.
Yep.
You got to pass certain tests. You got to get, it's just a lot of things that go into certain things. So it's like almost discouraging on our part as much as what it is. It might seem discouraging for him to, follow that suit. But you gave him some good advice. You told him, you can put the word federal in any business, or, you could hide behind certain names and words that might scare you or intimidate you or a lawyer to press any charges.
Well, you have big firms. You have a lot of people that are friends. A lot of people, they go to school with each other. You set things in motion. You protect yourself.
Yeah, I mean, what scares you too is that you sign things and people will say, well, it's in the fine print, and which we don't all read. But there are many cases, especially in a rare case like they like to present to them, like his, that fine print that you sign isn't always valuable to you. You know what I mean?
Which is what he said. And he said now that even when he eats a candy bar, he's reading the fine print.
Right, and his experience alone would tell me that whatever he feels is responsible for that traumatizing experience is gonna make him read candy bars or anything that may seem insignificant to others.
And you know what? He's also sympathetic as well. You can tell when I asked him, what do you think about those physicians that say that? And one of the things he said was, in regards to, when he's like, oh, you'll be okay, no big deal, I do it all the time. He said he believes that they don't really know. They're not fully educated about the possibilities of what can happen, the repercussions, or the side effects, or whatever. He thinks that they don't really understand, because he doesn't believe if they knew what could happen to them that they would encourage it.
I think he's right and wrong. I think he's right that they're not educated in certain things like Guillain-Barré Syndrome. I'd never heard of it in my life, but I also believe that it's an excuse. That's literally their profession. So for them to know about thousands of different syndromes and diseases is a lot, but that doesn't excuse them from experimenting on people's lives and, livelihood, and, injecting things in people that they don't fully understand. And I guess that's why they have trials and stuff like that. But it's just like, again, like, I couldn't give it a pass. I couldn't give anyone a pass for that.
All right.
And it's just, I think you brought up a conversation earlier about us being forgiving and being conditioned to forgive easily. And I think that's like a little iffy about, I think it is true. We forgive easy for things we shouldn't. But I think there's a difference between forgiving someone and then actually taking action to prevent it from happening again, and accountability. And that's really, there's a difference between the two. I think the people in that prison or jail where he was held should hold some accountability. I think the doctors should hold some accountability. Whatever company produced this flu shot that he took, you know what I'm saying? And
what about the actual owner of this jail or the actual shareholders? There should be a civil suit. They should be held truly accountable, to the point where they should also serve time.
Well, the shareholders are probably the lawyers he spoke to. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, you don't really know who to go to or who to talk to, and I think that is a part of the system that a lot of people try to speak against. So it's a lot, but I think educating yourself and being persistent about certain things, it'll go a long way. And we live in a society where it's not cool to educate yourself, but I think now it's starting to really become a thing. the fake woke thing I think is designed to discourage people. I think a lot of people are fake woke. You know, they say they learn enough and say enough to seem a certain way, but nothing to really educate next generation. But that shouldn't discourage people from still learning and educating. And this is definitely a perfect example of, wow, they really devastated his life, and I think that's what they did. And even though he's fine now, seems to be fine, that even the way he explains what he went through, that it was enough to warrant some kind of retaliation. But I mean, I don't know, maybe jail time, maybe losing shares, maybe losing money, maybe getting fined. I think people that are involved with certain entities that hurt people shouldn't have the availability to invest in anything, especially medically.
I totally agree. They should be held accountable. They should understand the responsibility that they have. People entrusting them with their lives,
right.
To change it however they feel fit. A lot of situations, like one of the things he said was that he felt, we're guinea pigs.
Exactly. That's true.
And it's just for the sake of science. But who's actually benefiting when you have people as a whole are suffering for what, one person to benefit? Or, you know what I mean?
Well, and all right, so for example, right, the Australian fires, I don't know if you heard about the Australian fires. Yeah. And, it's horrible. It's happening all over the continent.
Right.
And, it's just, millions of animals dying, millions of people's homes, and thousands of people have passed as well. People aren't really looking into the places they're donating things to. They're just donating money to help, which is great. But I think they're doing themselves and other people an injustice by just sending money to certain organizations that they know nothing about.
I 100% agree with that, by the way.
And then when they do find out about certain things, they don't think that there's another agenda going on as well. I think certain things happen. I'm not saying anyone deliberately did the fires, even though they say they arrested 26 people. And I don't know what that's about. It was mentioned. I don't know if it's fact. Look it up yourself. But somebody's profiting from that horrific situation. You know what I'm saying? And some people may look at it as someone taking advantage. And it could be that, or it could just be someone's opportunity. But do a lot of like misfortune for a lot of people. I do think that every time someone's gaining, some kind of money or expansion, or it could be literally anything. So as far as the flu shot, I don't know what agenda is being pushed there, but a lot of flu shots are actually man-made. A lot of strands of
the flu shot itself, they're putting a virus inside your body, so it could be familiar with if it is much more serious, and I understand the concept. But do people that know, they don't know all the facts, they just know that part.
They don't care to know the facts.
They just know that you're getting a smaller version of the big version. If you was to ever get it, your body would understand and know how to deal with it. But they're not telling you all the other side effects. And I wonder if they actually really know, or were they taught that.
I mean, there's a big pushback from the other direction of, studies have shown that flu shots or certain, things that prevent diseases. What do they call it again? Basically things that things that stop measles. What is it?
Vaccines.
Vaccines that, and they say that there are a lot of studies that show that they don't support like syndromes and like Down syndrome or autism.
Okay. People
try to link the two, and I'm not saying that it doesn't exist, but they're saying that it supports it. But they haven't said it outright is not linked. You know what I'm saying? So people try to downplay certain situations like this, and because they're so rare, they're not really heard. But I'm sure if his story's heard and he gets it out there, a lot more people than he thinks has the same common situation.
Right.
And 20,000 a year is 20,000 people a year is not that much, maybe, but it's a lot of people. It'll fill a couple.
That's pretty terrible.
Yeah.
And you have to ask yourself this: 20,000 people all over America get it a year. Why we never hear about it?
Right. I mean, there's there are diseases that we probably think are fictional, but I think it's designed to the point where we don't want to know about these things. You know, things,
or do they make us feel that we don't want to know?
No, exactly. I think even me as a person, like I drink certain things that give me energy. I don't really want to know what's in it. You know what I mean? Because if I do, then I consciously know what I'm doing to my body. You know what I'm saying?
I understand that.
So it's just, if it's happening to a mass of people, then we definitely don't want to know.
Unfortunately, though, later on in years when you have health problems, not you particularly, but in general, we don't even put that 1 + 1 together to make 2. But we was poisoning our bodies for years, and now different things is going on, and it's like, oh, you go to the doctor, they like, well, you know, right now your blood pressure is this way. You should cut back on this. You should cut back on that.
Right. I was just watching something where, you know, we use that excuses, but these are true. A lot of times doctors, what they say to us now, don't apply, you know, doesn't apply 20 years from now.
Right.
With the whole coffee situation. Like, people laugh and say, you know, 6 coffees a day is good for you now. So like when I was growing up, I heard drinking coffee was terrible. You know,
true.
The caffeine and all that. Caffeine was bad. Now caffeine's good. Sugar's bad, but now sugar's good. So it's like because we are eating so many artificial sugars now because it says 0 grams of sugar. We're eating a supplement, and our body thinks we're getting sugar, so we compensate, and it's just, you know, a lot of unhealthy situations. So it's just like, you know, we don't really know anymore. You know what I mean? Doctors don't really know. You know, so it's just, we want to educate ourselves and keep updating our, you know, our knowledge about these.
So, you know, it just comes down to one of those things where, you know, it's a money thing.
Right.
Money over human.
I mean, that's something that's been practiced for, you know, I guess since humans have been, you know, practicing.
I mean, I get it, you know. Hopefully, you know, things change a little bit, the more educated, and, you know, social media, I'm gonna say they, because people with the most influence over the world don't actually have a hand on it. They may succeed one day. Right now, opportunity is very strong for anyone, which is, again, Detroit. The way the factories disappeared and people was, you know, looking for different ways to eat and, you know, resorting to crime and putting themselves in jail, you know, it's like you build jails, you get rid of work, people do crime, they're in there, and people make money.
Yeah, I don't think jails should be privately owned. I don't think that should be a thing at all.
Well, yeah, I mean,
prisons,
you know, these places are privately owned. They get funded by the state, tax money. I believe if there wasn't so much money involved, the situation would be very different.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's why all these judges are starting to get arrested. I think we're starting to see a lot of real change. So, I mean, even if it's a slow start, change is better. I mean, at one time, you know, in the medieval times, we were throwing shit out the window. You know what I mean? True. So it's just like people were dying from those type of things and getting different diseases, hepatitis and stuff like that.
Right.
So I think there's gonna be a time where we look at the things we do and just don't, you know.
Right. And I just want to say, I don't want to say no names, but if you will, can you let us know, have you recovered 100%, if you don't mind, or is it something you're still struggling with? Because like from what we researched, it's something that there's no cure for. So I'm curious about that. I wonder if that information is wrong in itself.
Yeah, and also how much has it affected you mentally? Because I'm sure that might have had a strain on your life as a whole. For him to even bring up the situation is just it's kind of like, you know, the chances are very slim. Right. But it's pretty good. It's like starting conversations, getting out there, and you gotta start somewhere. You know what I mean? Right. And also, is therapy an option? You know. Right. That was something that we kind of touch on here and there. As a people, as a community, we look at therapy as such a taboo. Right. Because people make us feel like we're crazy for doing so, or even looking at it. But yeah, I mean, I don't think that's the case at all.
Not at all. I mean, I'm glad he spoke about it, and you know, it does cause awareness, you know, to the public, to people, and let us know a real situation occurred and real consequences of something that's free, right?
I mean, yeah. I mean, Google, they're giving out now a lot of free Chrome, like little devices, kind of like Alexa.
Yeah.
And they're giving it for free, and you can just sign up.
What is it exactly?
I forgot the name of it.
What is the purpose of it?
I guess so, like say Alexa, turn on this.
Interesting.
So it'd be like Google, look this up. What's Guillain's disease? You know, and you know, I'm sure they cost money to make. You know what I'm saying? And it's free.
The ultimate end game. My favorite movie, The Ultimate End Game. I remember when AOL came out, everything was free.
Right.
Facebook, everything was free.
Okay.
Social media, internet, everything was free. And I knew that was just to get everybody hooked.
Right.
Become a part of our lives. You know, just give it away. It's cool. Let's try this new thing. And now it costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
You can't watch TV used to be free, and now no TV's free.
Well, yeah. I mean, in that case, I don't think it's, and I do believe that is the ultimate goal.
Right.
But I think what's happening is that we're selling data and information about ourselves, and we're giving that away for free. And the little money they pay to build these little devices is a small price to pay to know what to advertise to us. So if we talk about whatever we're speaking about in our conversation, these devices pick up on those words and they present it to us through our daily social media endeavors. You know. So.
Well, it just brings me to that idea, promoting myself.
Right.
David Talks, and if we have any brand of any sort, no matter what it is, we're promoting somebody else for free.
Exactly. So, no more free promotion, man. Even though I'm about to do a free promotion.
About to do this?
Nah. But I'm still waiting on that. But definitely waiting on the thing. But as far as experimenting go, not so much bad is coming from experimenting. I don't know if you heard, but Taco Bell is experimenting with paying their managers $100,000 a year.
Okay.
And paying for
free schools?
Paid leave. No, just paid leave. I'm not paid leave. Paid sick days. It's paid. I don't know. Something like that.
That's great.
That's dope.
I think that's great.
So they experiment with that. But what do you think? If it's great, but like, what do you think's the outcome of that situation?
I think that they feel if your employees are happy and they have time with their families to go on vacations and enjoy life, they'll come back and work harder.
Right.
And it'll change, you know, the whole environment. You know, it'll trickle down and have a trickle effect. People come into the restaurant, it feels warm. People are like, hey, they're happy to be at work. So it's like, good morning, how are you? Thanks for coming in.
Right.
And they understand it from a different point of view versus sometimes you go into a restaurant. You know, I was in matter of fact, I was in Chipotle the other day. In Chipotle, I usually have good experiences, but you're checking in with somebody and they just talk to you like this.
Right.
How can I help you? And you know, you say, well, thank you. They don't even say you're welcome. They just looking towards the other person because they feel like robots. So, you know, at the same time, you feel like
I'm just trying to get through the day, you know.
You know, you're like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Unfortunately, we have a bunch of things to talk about. Unfortunately, we don't have the time to talk about it. A lot of things we're gonna have to leave out this segment, but you guys will catch it on the next segment. Real quick, let's go, let it go. The IP Man 4.
IP Man 4? I'm with the let go.
Let go?
Yeah, I don't want to see no more of that.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. I get it. But you know what? I'm not ready to give up because that was Bruce Lee's teacher.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to let it go. And they're going to show a fake version of Bruce Lee fighting.
I might want to see that part.
Yeah.
I want to see how they portray Bruce Lee. But I'm good with the IP movies. I think we can move forward from those situations.
I get it. They need to reinvent the wheel. That's for sure. All right. So thanks for watching David Talks. Much love. See you again.